We are taking a look at a program called Nearpod today, and Nearpod is kind of like presentation software on steroids. So it's like a combination of a PowerPoint slideshow with a bunch of like interactive things thrown in, like quizzes and the ability for students to type in answers. To better give you an idea of what it does and how it works, I'm just going to take you through a quick sample lesson. Here on the left is the teacher view. Over here on the right, I've got two students that are going to log in and experience this from a student standpoint. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll click Live Lesson, and it generates a code. And I can share this code in a number of different ways here, including Google Classroom. But really, I could put this on the projector or up on a whiteboard because students just need to type that in. So for each one of these student accounts over here, I'll type in the code. And the students are asked to enter a name. They don't have to log in. It's not a permanent account. They can just type in a temporary name. It doesn't even have to be their real name. So I'll just put in a couple of fake names here. Okay, and the students are now looking at the first slide in the presentation. So I'll close this. And so again, on the left, here's the teacher view. On the right are two students and how they would see it. This would work with Chromebooks. This would work with a computer lab. It also would work with their personal devices. So if they were older students and you wanted to let them use their phones or something like that, that's an option. Okay, so here is an introduction about this presentation is going to be about the Bill of Rights. So as a teacher, I click the Next tab, and you see that the students are pushed on to the next item here. So this next item is interactive, and I'm asking the students a multiple choice question. And so this is a survey. So I'm saying, how much do you know about the Bill of Rights? A lot, a little bit, not very much, or nothing. And so I'll answer for each one of these students here, and we'll send off their answers. And the answers show up here in the teacher view. I can see Sally answered A. Still waiting for James' result. There it is. He answered C. So you get a list of all the students and which letter they chose for the answer. There's a little graph here, a little pie chart that'll fill up with color depending on which answers were given. Here's a numerical breakdown. And one nice feature is I can share this information with the class without any names attached. So I click the share button, and in a minute here, the students get a summary of how everyone answered. When I'm ready to move on, I can unshare, and that will come off their screen, and then we can move to the next activity. Okay, so here I'm sharing just an image of James Madison, so maybe we have a short talk about him and what his role is in writing the Bill of Rights. We move on. Here is the text of the First Amendment, so we read through it and we have a little discussion. I move on from there. And here is an interactive section. So I'm asking an open-ended question. In your opinion, what is the most important part of the First Amendment? And okay, they'll each give me an answer here. Okay, and so now I have my answers coming in. Okay, now if I see a student answer that I really want to highlight or share with the class, I can click Share, and it doesn't come with a student name on it. It just shows the text of their answer, and so I could use that to highlight a really good answer. And so I'll unshare that, and we'll move on. Okay, and then finally, this is a quiz, and you could use this at the front end of a lesson to gauge their prior understanding, or you could use it at the end to figure out how much they picked up during the lesson. And so the First Amendment guarantees, and here is a list of options. So the correct answer would be number 1, and we'll answer that one for that one. Okay, and so the quiz results come in, and we have James who got his answer correct, and Sally which answered incorrectly. And so that's the percentage of class that was answering correctly and incorrectly here. So again, I can share the results with the class if I want to show them the class results, and I can unshare that. Okay, and now we come to the final slide in the presentation, and this is a drawing activity. And so I said, draw a picture that represents the freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. And so you have access to some drawing tools. It's pretty basic, but you can have your students spend time with a drawing activity if you can think of something that would be useful and it would relate. When a student finishes, they hit send, and as the teacher, you'll get an update here, a little thumbnail version of everybody's drawings and who's done and who's not. So there you can see James's happy face came in, and Sally just did a bunch of dots. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. And so I would go to the menu at the top here and I would say end session and say yes. And it takes me back to my beginning page. The students get a message saying the teacher has ended the session that you were signed into. So they click OK, and it kicks them back out to the original starting screen. Okay, so it's a presentation software with a lot of interactive elements that you can build in to generate discussions or have students give input. Really a powerful and kind of fun tool rather than just lecturing or having students work in small groups. It doesn't require the students to have any login account or anything like that. It works for anybody and it's really easy to set up. So in the next video, we'll go over how to create one of these slideshows.